Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. Have not made a video for you guys in a while. Just been busy. A lot of hockey stuff going on, a lot of work stuff going on. Haven't been shooting as much, been shooting a lot more film, so that slows things way down. But you know, I was driving the other day and I was thinking about camera stuff, like once in a while I typically do. And it dawned on me, or the topic appeared to me that I want to kind of discuss with you guys today. So this video, to kind of get things out of the way, I'm going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about this whole Gear Matters thing. We're going to talk about the Sony A7C II. We're going to talk about one of the videos I did in the last month or two that I was really wrong about, I think. And it kind of ties all together. Also, if you're interested in this video to see pictures, there are 0 pictures. So if you're interested in pictures, this is not the video for you. You can just click off and go do something else. I don't want to waste your time or read your comment about, oh my gosh, bro, there's no pictures. Okay. All right, so the other day I was driving down the road and I started thinking to myself, the camera I like to pick up the most, or the cameras I like to pick up the most, are, on paper the most impractical. The ones that just, they don't make the most sense, that they really don't fit an aesthetic for anything. And I started thinking about why that is. There are channels and people on the YouTubes that are dedicated to like gear doesn't matter. And then there are people that are just gear obsessed. This guy sometimes, okay, all the time. And I got to thinking, part of the whole issue I've had over the last couple of years with gear is I always fight between the head and the heart. I've talked about this, meaning in your head, you know that you should get like a basic Canon or Sony because autofocus is great and all the different lenses and whatever. But then I always get bored or want to move on from them really quickly because I really enjoy the maybe the experience of like an older film camera or a Leica or whatever. But then I use that and I'm like, well, this thing can't capture sports and it can't do video. And so I go back and forth and you're in a giant gas cycle, or it's too big or it's too small, all that stuff. And so, it kind of dawned on me that you can say what you want. Gear absolutely does matter. It absolutely matters. Because it matters in the respect that if you don't enjoy using it, if you don't want to pick it up, if it doesn't kind of fit your style and give you all the little things that come along with the camera, then you're not going to use it. Stupid stuff like, how do the materials feel? I care about that. How does the shutter sound? I care about that. What's the viewfinder look like in the experience? Does it have dials? Does it not have dials? Where are the dials placed? What are the dials made out of? Do the buttons make a certain click? It sounds really stupid and has nothing to do with photography, and you're absolutely right, because you could buy any camera and take a picture and be fine with it. What does it matter? Use your iPhone. But it does matter in a lot of ways, because if you like picking it up and you like turning the dials and you like the way the shutter sounds, then you're going to use it a lot more, and you're going to want it, and you're going to become one with the camera a little bit. And if you do that, you're going to become better and you take more pictures, you're going to enjoy the experience and all that different stuff. I think as soon as you surrender to it's just a tool, it could be anything, I think you can kind of lose the attraction to it in a way. Now I'll pause, because some of you are going to say, well, that's bullcrap. Okay, maybe a little bit, but only from the respect that, yes, any camera can take the photos, and I've seen great things made with entry-level Micro Four Thirds cameras and entry-level DSLRs, Rebel T6Is or whatever. I've seen great pictures made with it. But the point is that if you're okay with that, and you like that camera, and you enjoy using it, and maybe its simplicity or cheapness is what does it for you, then that's probably the reason why, right? Gear matters in respect that you actually like enjoying that, and it provides something to you that maybe a big Nikon Z9 won't, right? Like maybe the Rebel T6i is better for you for your street photography because it only costs you a couple $100 and you don't care if it gets beat up and whatever, like all that different stuff. And so it just got dawned on me, it matters. Here's the reason why I bring it up. As you guys may or may not know, I've been shooting with Sony A7C for a little bit. This camera's, first of all, this camera's a huge upgrade. So this is the A7C II review part of it. This camera is a big upgrade from the original A7C. Just fixing things like putting the dial on the front. You guys can see this right here. They changed the grip, feels a lot better. The viewfinder, even though it's the same resolution, is a bigger magnification, so that's better. The body feels just a little bit different. I don't know if that's true or not. Autofocus is great. The new menus are on this. You can put custom LUTs for video in here, S-Log, all that stuff. It's really, really great. It's small. You can make this portable. It's awesome. It's actually a fantastic camera. But after the novelty wore off a little bit, I found myself not picking it up as much outside of doing jobs that specifically required the good autofocus or whatever. Otherwise, I left this home a lot because I just didn't really truly enjoy the experience. And, you know, oddly enough, one of the things that really kind of bothers me is, let me show you guys how this. It's electronic first curtain shutter, and that shutter sound is fake. And I noticed it, and it really started to bother me. I was like, what? One of the cameras I hate the most is the Canon RP and like the Canon R8. They're great cameras on paper. They do everything great. But they're plasticky and the buttons are mushy, and they have first curtain shutters like that sound really kind of Fisher-Pricey. I don't like it. In fact, I held a Nikon Z8, Z9, which are great cameras, amazing cameras. The Z8 ergonomics are awesome. But they have electronic shutter. I went through all the shutter sounds and I was like, man, I don't like any of those. So for me, that'd be a tough pill to swallow, especially on a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 camera body, which is just incredible, right? So anyways, on this A7C II, I was like, I really don't like electronic first curtain shutter. It's not a big deal, and it's not. But it started to detract from the feeling for me a little bit. And the second thing is that even though this viewfinder is better and definitely usable, I didn't love it as much either. And then you kind of get into the menus, and I'm like, man, I still don't really love Sony menus, either. They're a lot better than the old ones. I sound like a whiner baby a bit, but I'm like, it's a great camera. It's a tool. But I didn't like picking it up, and I've shot a lot less as a result. And I've really migrated to my Leica and my Nikon FE2 and film a lot more because I like the experience. That's a bad example. You're doing all these motions and you're getting the shutter and the advanced lever and all that stuff. And so, I got to thinking, I think I made a mistake. I think I made a mistake on the Nikon ZF2. And, let me flip cameras and we'll see. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the Nikon ZF. It's in the kit lens, the 24-70. It's at f4. I'll put the Sony on now, and both these will be in log. So this is N-log. I'll try and grade this, even though I'm not great at grading N-log. And I'll shoot this in S-log. But this has got the baddest lens on it. The baddest lens is phenomenal, by the way. So let me switch cameras, and I'll talk about why I think I made a mistake with the Nikon ZF. All right, we're back at it. We're on the A7C II with the Zeiss, and I'm going to imagine that the lens looks a lot better. Its lens is phenomenal. I haven't talked about it on this channel, but guys, I know what they say in the reviews. The Zeiss Batis 25 f2 is the jam. Anyways, okay. So why I think I was wrong about the Nikon ZF and why I've returned to it. And it has to do with all the things I just mentioned in the last segment of this clip. The materials are a lot better, right? This is all metal up here, brass dials. If you do this, right, you get these nice clicks. The shutter sound. Turn this on. Oops. I rotate the lens before taking pictures. It's a true mechanical shutter all the way through and through. I like the way it sounds a lot more. I started thinking, I'm like, the Nikon ZF, even though the ergonomics I thought were terrible on it, I added this grip, this Neewer grip, and it kind of looks like an old Nikon F3. But even though the ergonomics are terrible on it initially without the grip, the autofocus is really good, and the straight out of camera colors are really good. It has a 3D tracking. It can do everything the Sony can do, but it can do it in a way that maybe I'll enjoy the materials and the shutter sound and the clicks and all the things more, and I'll pick it up more. And so I went back to it. So I'm eating major crow in this video. The things I said are still true. This camera is still significantly bigger, larger, heavier, in my opinion, than the Sony A7C II. I just held them both up, used them for this video. You can definitely tell. Ergonomically, in terms of like how you mess with the dials and interact with the scroll wheels, they're not as intuitive as Fuji. They're just not. But in all that, I can learn probably to get around them. And I think, in hindsight, I was wrong about my initial assessment that the Nikon ZF wasn't for me. That video got a lot of people saying I was ridiculous and all sorts of things, and I wasn't ridiculous, but you guys weren't wrong that maybe it's a great camera. The other thing too is, like I said, I have the Nikon FE2, and so I have some lenses I can mount on here even if they're manual focus. And then I also have the Nikon D70 and a flash that a friend gave me. And I have lenses that I can use from that on here. And so you put all that together, and I have, a lot of Nikon gear, and it just made a lot of sense. And so I'm selling the A7C too. If anybody's interested in it, it's mint condition. It's like brand new. Obviously it works because it's recording me right now. So if you're interested in it, you guys can message me or email me. I'm looking to sell it. But it's stuff like that that matters to me. I mean, this has redundancy in card slots, although not ideal with the micro SD and the regular SD. There's just a lot of things there. However, there is one piece of the pie that you got to kind of work around with this Nikon ZF that, was something for me in the beginning video. And I'll give you an example. Sony has these like series of lenses that are really small, metal, and premium. One of these is this Zeiss 55 millimeter 1.8. You can get the 35-2.8. This thing's just awesome rendering lens. It's sharp. It's not that expensive. It looks fantastic. It's small on the camera. And the problem with Nikon setup right now is that they have a lot of lenses that are big, kind of modern style plastic lenses, polycarbonate lenses that don't really fit the aesthetic of this. And if you want to get into something that fits the aesthetic of this, you kind of need to get into like the Voigtlander Z-mount manual focus glass, or just be okay using maybe a mismatch. I'll call it a mismatch in terms of, retro, non-retro style lenses on this body. And so that's still something that's a bit of an issue, but I can see myself adapting some of my Leica glass with it and just using it for that experience, and then just putting this on when I need something that's just, travel or run and gun. And so I think I was wrong, guys. I want to come out and say that. But I summarize this whole video. It definitely matters the camera you have in your hand. The materials matter, the shutter sound matters, the viewfinder matters, the dials, the clicks, all that stuff matters. The lenses matter, the size, the weight, the materials, the rendering. It all matters, not in the respect that any camera can't take a good picture and that the person behind the camera is more important than the camera user or the actual camera itself. All that stuff's true. I'm not arguing with that. What I'm saying is, to the photographer that's good, they're going to enjoy using a camera like this, potentially, more than a plastic, Rebel T6i or T7i or whatever. I'll summarize it like this in hockey terms. Connor McDavid is probably, if not the best hockey player in the league right now, okay? Connor McDavid could run circles around me because he's just a better hockey player, right? Similar with photography. A good photographer is going to run circles around me because they're a better photographer. That's not a debate. But if you put a straight old wooden stick that maybe Gordie Howe used in Connor McDavid's hands and put him out there, he's not going to be as good, right? He's not going to have the flex, the whip, the lightness, the curve won't be there. And then, he probably won't enjoy using it as much. He'll be disadvantaged, right? Like Connor McDavid probably enjoys using whatever his top of the line Bauer Vapor or whatever he uses, CCM, whatever stick, versus an old wooden Winwell straight blade from 1950. It's similar to that. Like the stick he has in his hand, it matters. The kick point, the whip, the way he shoots, he won't have the same effect if he had a different stick in his hand. He'll want to pick it up more. He'll use it more. All that stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, the photographer matters more than the camera, but the camera absolutely matters, especially to hobbyist photographers that are doing this for fun. So I think I made my point. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you guys want to roast me for rebuying the Nikon ZF, go for it. Oh, and if you want the A7C too, please message me. I'm selling it. So see you guys in the next video. I'll hopefully do some shooting here soon. I've just been a bit busy lately. See you in the next one.